So number 4, you're number 4.
Oh, number 4 is both the movie that we both seen together at TIFF again. A movie called Cannibal.
Cannibal.
I mean, this movie.
Is that my number 4? That's my number 4 too. Yay! So we intersected on this one.
Here.
Okay, so
starting all chime in.
Okay, well, this movie was about this guy in Spain, in this little village in Spain. He's a master tailor, extremely handsome, suave, debonair guy. You would never know that in real life he's a frickin' murdering cannibal guy. And and what he does is he abducts people, and
mostly women.
Yeah, women. And then he cuts them up and eats them.
Yeah, he takes them to his I guess
his mountain cabin.
His cabin somewhere in the mountains of Spain.
Cuts them up, makes steaks out of them.
Elaborate, I don't know, room where he's got.
And we never really we never know why, how he became this person.
Yeah, that's the only thing that kind of.
Yeah, that was. It just starts off when he's what, in his 30s, maybe mid-30s, 40s.
I think he's in his 40s.
Yeah, and he's living a seemingly normal life in this town, and in the meantime he's a murderer. Right? Yeah, and nobody would ever suspect because he's like a real, he looks so great on the surface, you know,
he's very suave, debonair,
very professional, you would never
spoken, quiet, stays out of the limelight, but
then these two women come into the picture.
Right,
the first woman is really unstable, erratic, very attractive woman, and he's attracted to her, she's attracted to him, and they kind of develop this thing. But then things go awry, and then, should I say what happens?
Well, I mean, when you're a movie called Cannibal, I mean...
Right, okay, well, anyway, he ends up killing her, and then her sister, her twin sister, not identical twin, but they look very similar. It's played by the same actress.
Shows up.
She shows up looking for her, and then they actually get into, a relationship. And it was just really, it was chilling, because you see this girl developing this relationship with this guy. Meanwhile, you know that he's murdered her sister, and, what's he going to do to her? Is he going to hurt her, whatever? But he appears to really care about her. It was just, really, it was engrossing. It was, so it was such a cool story. Such a really good story.
Well, it kind of reminds me of The Sacrament. It's not one of these, horror movies where you see, bodies.
Yeah, it's not gory. It's not gory at all. You don't see him chopping, blood and guts and everything.
You
don't see that.
Him, having the girl in his cabin and, all chained up and manacled and all that. And, he's got knives and all sorts
it's
of
not,
devices,
it's not sensationalistic at all.
It's pretty much what's going to happen. And then, the best part of this movie, well, not the best part, but one of the scenes in there where he opens up his fridge and he's got all this meat.
Right.
And, pretty much know it.
Yeah, and the guy sits at his table with, fine china, silverware, glass of wine, and he's just going eating the steak as if it's filet mignon or something.
Yeah, like a normal, dinner from KFC, but as we know, that's not the case. Anyways, the actor was really good in this movie. The director was, whoever thought of this movie deserves kudos.
Yeah,
because
it was great. Really,
it's not your typical, slasher, cannibal, and, these, U.S. movies where they make all this crap.
Yeah, basically it was just a character study about this murderer.
Yeah,
and
which you didn't even know this guy was a murderer because this guy's so, under the radar.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even suspect it if you even,
You just know that this guy would have ended up doing it in his entire life and never getting caught.
Right.
He would never get caught.
Because he was so,
he was so good. He was so slick, this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this cabin he had was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. And, I guess he was a meat lover.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Okay, number 3. What's your number 3?
Oh, number 3 is a movie that we both, really liked. And Under the Skin, Jonathan Glazer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
This movie
I love that movie.
You know what? This movie here, I never really expected it much when I went to see it, or we both went to see it.
Okay, that's Under the Skin is my number 2, so I guess we might as well talk about it.
Yeah, but this movie is, I mean, if this is not one of the better looking movies of, recent memory, I don't know.
It was just such a great friggin' story.
I mean, what a story.
It was so weird and so bizarre.
And you know what? I mean, the character was played by Scarlett Johansson, who I guess decided to, come out of the, OS computer and go into this movie because you just get to see her.
She was awesome in this movie.
And,
she was fantastic.
She
carried the whole film.
You talk about sex appeal. That's
very, very sexy. Yeah, she looked amazing.
She was an alien.
And she was an alien who came to Earth, and then she takes over somebody's body who looks like Scarlett Johansson, and she goes all across like the countryside in this big van, just not abducting guys, but luring them, guys. Right? Because she looks like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. And it was done in Scotland, which actually even added to the movie because Scotland's kind of a. Well, I've never been to Scotland, but from what if Scotland's any indication of what I've seen in this movie, it's not a place I want to go. But anyways. Very desolate. I mean,
very barren.
Very barren.
Yeah. You know what scene I'll always remember from this movie, and it had very little to do with the plot, but there was this amazing scene on a beach where there's like a family with like a baby, right? And I think one of the kids or a dog ends up going into the water, and so the father of the family ends up going and trying to rescue the dog, and it's like a really tumultuous, like there's a storm going on, and there's a lot of waves, so he ends up like drowning, and then this other guy tries to go to rescue him, and he ends up drowning, and then you just see this baby like left alone crying on the beach on these rocks, like this tiny baby, just like sitting there crying, and she's just like walking by because she's an alien, she doesn't give a shit about this baby, right? And so she just leaves this baby there, and you just think like, oh my god, like, it gets dark, and it was just, I'll never forget that scene. That was like such a friggin' awesome scene.
Under the Skin has got to be one of the most original movies that you're going to see. I mean, they're all original.
You guys have to see it. You have to see this movie, man.
It's really,
it'll blow your mind. Like, it's sci-fi, not showy, flashy sci-fi, but, the science fiction plot because there's an alien in it. Right. But, like, just like it was. It's not
science fiction like you think of science fiction.
Yeah,
it's more like normal everyday. It can happen, and believe me, I mean, this movie is.
And the ending of this movie is like, we're not going to tell you how it ends, but it's amazing. The final shot of this movie, I'll also remember. It was just so friggin' good, so good.
I mean, wow, this guy. I mean, whew. It was just great.
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome movie.
Jonathan Gray, he's the guy who made Birth and some other movies, but this one is.
There was another beach scene in Cannibal. Remember that awesome scene on the beach? Yeah, there was another great beach scene in that movie. That was.
Yeah, my wife likes beaches because there's a lot of beach scenes in Stranger by the Lake.
Yeah, I do like beaches
and all that. And,
okay, so my number 3 movie was called Found. Oh. And this was a horror film. We saw this movie at the After Dark Film Festival, which was pretty, average. But this movie blew my mind. It was about this, like, young boy whose older brother is a serial killer. He ends up finding, like, this head in a bowling bag in his closet. And he doesn't tell anybody. He just keeps it to himself. And, like, he's, like, this little kid, he's kind of like, he's bullied by people. He's kind of like, I guess, an outcast. Treated like shit by people. His family life is horrendous. His parents, like, there's a dysfunctional thing going on there. And, but it was just so original and so daring because there's one scene in this movie that is like the most graphic. Oh my god, how would you even describe that?
That's one with
explicit. No, the one where he's torturing the girl, because this kid is a horror movie fanatic, and he goes and rents this DVD, and it's about this like serial killer who wears a mask and he tortures this girl, and it's just like what can I tell you? It's disgusting.
Yeah, there was.
But the way it was done, like I don't even know how to describe it. Why it was like.
I don't know. I mean, I saw it and it didn't have the same effect on me. I mean, but there were some good parts to it.
I just thought it was really, really good, really different, really daring, and the end of this movie is like fucking bloodbath, like you would not believe. Yeah. And like not only that, just like really, really disturbing shit going on. It was a very disturbing movie. Like that's what I like because it was a movie that dealt with disturbing stuff, and I like that because that's part of life. There's a lot of disturbing shit that goes on, and people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to think about it, but that doesn't take away the fact that it's there. That it exists. And I like it that I like filmmakers who are not afraid to go there and who are not afraid to, show this kind of stuff and deal with it.
Yeah, by far the best movie After Dark this year. The other ones that we saw.
Pretty mediocre, except for We Are What We Are. That was pretty good.
Jim Mickle one, which didn't make our list, but it's on video now. You can go see it. But yeah, it was good, but it didn't make my list.
I thought it was. And was it his first movie? This guy's first movie?
It was the guy from Indiana, right?
Yeah, I think he might have made like a short film before this.
Scott Shermer?
Scott Shermer. Yeah, this was his first feature-length film, I think. And he only made it for like $12,000 or something, too, he said.
It was a good effort.
And it looked really good. It didn't look like, hack or anything. It looked really well made. Very well done.
It was good, but didn't do enough for me to.
I thought it was awesome.
Make my top 10.
Okay, so my number 2 was Under the Skin. So did we do your number 2? What's your number 2?
Oh yeah, my number 2 movie is another. Seem to be all my movies are from TIFF. This movie is a South Korean movie called Cold Eyes. You will never I shouldn't say never, but this movie is so well made, and I mean because it deals with technology and the hunt for a criminal, and Cold Eyes is basically the title kind of doesn't give away the plot, but anyways, there's this police force in South Korea that's going after this master criminal, and this guy is one of the best, sleekest, smart, cunning criminals I've seen in movies in a long time. And this whole police force trying to get this guy, and there's this young woman who's just starting out, and so she's trying to learn the ropes. But anyways, they're hunting for this. I mean, this Korea is under surveillance. The whole city, they got gadgets, cameras, everything. I mean, if some guy's eating a sandwich in a restaurant,
I think every city's like that now.
They can see it. I mean, if you're taking if you're in a washroom, they could film you.
There's no such thing as privacy anymore.
I mean, you can't do anything in this movie without them. I mean, in a matter of seconds, they can hone in and. Well, anyways, they're trying to chase this criminal, but this is superior movie making at its best. And I'm telling you, I mean, this is one of the slickest movies I've seen in years. I went to see it because I didn't read anything about it, but I said, the plot sounded good. And you know what? I mean,
was this a true story or was it fiction?
No, it's fiction. But I mean, it's a remake of a 2007 movie. The title escapes me, but this movie was. I mean, the guys who made this movie. It's superior. I mean, you think Hollywood is slick when they make movies? I mean, these guys beat Hollywood by miles, and this movie is just.
So is this one of these movies where there's kind of twist after twist going on?
It's basically trying to find this guy, and they're they got a bunch of other criminals robbing banks, But anyways, this guy's the mastermind. But this guy's always one step ahead.
So it kind of reminds me of Heat. Al Pacino tracking Robert De Niro.
That was really well made too. But this one is more slick because it involves technology. It involves a guy who's really, I mean, this guy is so smart. He's outfoxing everybody, but they end up catching him anyways at the end. And like all movies, I mean, it's always got to have a happy ending because that's how people want their movies, right? But anyways, superior filming at its best from Korea, South Korea.
Okay.
You know what? I mean, wow. If I ever see this movie again, I'm going to see it because it's all about technology. I mean, the chase is it's really good because
Cold Eyes. I guess maybe that kind of relates to the technology, right?
Well, no, the Cold Eyes actually refers to the police captain telling this young woman, your eyes are the the secret to everything you watch and anything because she said he's telling her that you're going to see this guy, so watch everything. So anyway, she ends up spotting him. And meanwhile, they got all these cameras. They can't even catch this guy. But he's always one step ahead. But anyways, great movie.
So it wasn't the camera eyes that caught him; it was the human eyes that caught him.
But I mean, they used the technology to help them, right? Mm-hmm. But anyways, superior. I mean, vastly superior movie.
Oh, I never got to see it. I'd like to.
You know what? If it wasn't for our top choice, this movie would be by far one of the best movies.
Speaking of which,